inventory, look at it, compare the things you see. If there's anything missing that is not in the inventory, make sure you take pictures, even a scratch on the wall. Hi guys, my name is Laju. I'm a Nigerian living in the UK, and today I'll be sharing with you what you should know before renting a property in the UK. I remember when we were planning to rent our first property, I didn't see a lot of resources on how to rent a property in the UK, or maybe I didn't check. We made a lot of mistakes along the way. We had a couple of regrets, but like they say, the third time is a charm. So today I'll be sharing with you what you should know before you rent a property. The first thing on my list is location. You may have chosen to live in a certain area probably because of the proximity to work, or because you have family and friends around the vicinity, or for whatever reasons, maybe you just like the area. That's fine. But before you move into any area, you need to do your research. Ask people that live around them, ask them about the area. You may have found a nice property in the area and you're looking forward to moving there, but still do your research. Find out about the postcodes. There are some postcodes that people will tell you are not safe. Probably the crime rate in the area is high, or for whatever reasons. If you don't know anyone in the area, you can still go on Google, search on Google. You find people putting out information about things like this. Still on location, what's your preference? Are you looking for somewhere more accessible to the motorway? Are you looking for somewhere near the city center? Are you looking for somewhere more residential? What's your preference? It depends on a lot of factors. It may be because you have a family or not. Like I said earlier, while renting, we have made a couple of mistakes. And one of the mistakes we made was renting a property on the road. Now, it's not a mistake for everybody. Like they say, one's meat is another's poison. For us, renting a property on the road was a poison for us. Like postcodes that start with 1, they're usually the city center or the town center. So if you see things like WR1, IP1, WV1, ST1, that means you're renting a property in the middle of the city center or close to the city center. So that gives you access to, communities, commodities in the city center. But it can also be a disadvantage because that means that pricing, which I will still get to, in the city center is higher, but you may prefer this because it's probably closer to work for you. These are little factors that you should consider before you go ahead to rent a property. Next thing on my list is appearance. Things are not always the way they seem. When you see a property on a website, Zoopla, Rightmove, whichever website you find, property might look nice, lovely, the pictures are amazing, but guess what? The picture was probably taken 10 years ago, and then you get there and it's completely something else. Now you need to always arrange a viewing before you rent a property. Most agents, if you're renting from an agent, would not allow you rent a property without coming to view. So you need to view the property, and what you see is what you get. You don't have any false expectations, except you are very far away and probably you're out of the country. But most times it's advisable to arrange for a viewing before you rent a property. Talking about appearance, even when you get to the property, make sure that you test things, you check out things. Switch on the lights, are they working? Flush the toilets, check for leaks, check around the property to make sure everything is fine. If there's someone already on the property, ask them about it. Ask them, is there anything I should worry about when I move into this property? Some of them are nice enough and they will let you know, what is wrong and what is not wrong. If there's nobody else in the property, that's fine, but still do your own little research. For instance, when you move into a property during summer, you may not be able to tell if the heating of the property is working. So after you move in, you would have to test that and make sure everything is fine. If it's not fine, please call the attention of your landlord or the agent just to let them know early enough. Or if there's someone already on the property, you can ask them, how is the heating in this place? During winter, does it get very cold? Does it get very warm? Let them share the experience with you about the property. Personally, I do the research when it comes to finding a property, but my husband is a real detective. So whenever I'm going to arrange a viewing, I always like to take him along because nothing misses his eye. So if you have someone you can take along, someone that is more detailed and will help you find the little things that you may easily miss, take them along when viewing a property. Now, the third thing you should know before you rent a property is pricing. Yes, the price of your property. Now, you may already have a budget. You should have a budget before you rent a property, but don't be fooled. The price that you see on the website is definitely not the final amount you'll be paying. Now, when you want to rent a property, there are certain fees you have to pay. First is the 1 month rent of the property. So you deposit the 1 month rent. The second thing that you have to pay when you're renting a property is your security deposit. So you have to pay a security deposit, which is usually about 6 weeks rent. Now, what is a security deposit? Like the name implies, this is the amount of money that you pay to the landlord or the renter or the agent as a form of security for the property, which means if any damages occur, they'll take your security deposit to cover it or take part of it to cover it. That is the security deposit. Now, you also need to pay admin fees, referencing fees, and all. So let's do the math together. For instance, you're renting a property of about £1,000. Now, this is just an example. Some properties are way cheaper than this, and some are more. It all depends on your location. So if you're in the busier cities, you may be getting as high as 1,000, 1,200, 1600, and more. But if you're in the smaller towns or or villages, you may get as low as 500 thereabout. So you have to pay, for instance, £1,000, and then your security deposit will be 6 weeks rent. So your security deposit will be £1,500. Now that's already 2,500. You have admin fees, let's say 200, referencing fees, let's say another 200. All in all, you're spending almost £3,000 to rent a property. But on the website, you see only the initial fee, the initial rent, which is £1,000. But the first time you rent it, expect to pay more. Now, the good news is there's another option called zero deposit. Now, the zero deposit, like the name implies, is zero deposit. You're not paying a security deposit, but what you're going to pay is a non-refundable fee, which is usually about 1 week's rent. So if your rent is £1,000 and your landlord is on a zero deposit scheme, you pay 1 week's rent, which is about £250. Add admin, add referencing, everything is about 1,500 thereabout. So it's way cheaper than the security deposit scheme. Now, the zero deposit scheme has a clause. The money you're paying is non-refundable. And also, after you leave the property, if there's any damages or any complaints, you have to pay out of pocket for the zero deposit scheme, compared to the security deposit scheme where you're not asked to pay anything out of pocket, but they take from your security deposit that you have already paid. So you may want to consider this when renting a property. Would you go for zero deposit options or security deposit options? Some have both, some have one or the other. So check with the agent or the landlord before you rent a property. The thing I'll talk about as regards renting the property is the type of property. Before you rent a property, you have to ask yourself, what type of property do I want to rent? Do I want to rent a flat? Do I want to rent a house? Or is it going to be a shared accommodation? Do your research on this. If you're renting a flat, for instance, all you're renting is the flat. You don't have to worry about the environs of the flat. You don't have to worry about mowing the lawn or cleaning the windows. You're renting just the flat. Now, if you're renting a house, it comes with more responsibilities. So the house is yours to take care of, the lawn is yours to take care of, the recycle, the waste, everything is yours to take care of, compared to if you're renting a flat. If you're renting a shared accommodation also, I spoke about this in one of my videos, you need to check, are you sharing accommodation with another renter or with the landlord? Just do your research before you rent a property. Still under the type of accommodation you're renting, what's your preference? Do you want to rent a furnished apartment or an unfurnished one? You may also find partly furnished ones. Now, it all depends on your preference and what amenities you already have. If you don't have any of the amenities, you may be looking to rent a furnished property that comes with everything, including furniture. Everything is there. So all you have to do is move in with your belongings. You don't have to buy anything else into the property. So you have to consider these options when you are renting a property. The next thing I'll be talking about as regards renting is your bills. Bills. You have your electric and or gas bills. You have your water bills to pay. Now, the good thing about this is that you can always change the service provider. For instance, you move into a property and you think the service provider is too expensive or you don't like their services, you can always change your service provider. There are different websites and options and apps that offer you this, like Uswitch and the likes. So you can always change. You're not stuck to a service provider. Now, we didn't know this when we moved into our first property, and we were stuck with a particular service provider all year round. But you can always change if you're not pleased with their services. Now, you also have council tax. Now, your the council tax come in bands. So there's band A, band B, band C, band D. Usually band A and band B, they're usually cheaper. Band C and D are usually a bit higher than band A and B. So you can check this where you are renting. Does it fall under a band A property or under a band D property? This will determine how much you'll be paying when it comes to bills. You also have your broadband. You have to also find out the broadband that works in that area. Find out if their network is good and what options they have for you. You also have TV license. You have to pay your TV license. As long as you have a TV you're watching, you have to pay your TV license bill. If not, you'll be fined for this. You may also have a content insurance bill whereby you're paying to protect your content in the property. Some property also come with service charge, not all properties. So you need to prepare for all these bills. Finally, if you have decided to rent a particular property, you'll be given a contract. Now, this contract will come with an inventory. Make sure you read the contract well. If you don't understand anything, ask questions. The inventory, look at it, compare the things you see. If there's anything missing that is not in the inventory, make sure you take pictures. Even a scratch on the wall, take a picture and protect yourself. If there's anything, lime scale, mold, take a picture to show that this is missing in the inventory, so that when you are leaving the property at the end of the year or whether it's a short hold or long hold tenancy. When you're leaving the property, you can let them know, oh, we didn't cost that, we met that here. Obviously, wear and tear would occur, that's normal. But every other thing that does not look like a wear and tear, you can take pictures and let the agent or the landlord be aware of this. So that's all for today, guys. I hope you found this video very helpful. Don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to my channel. Thank you. Bye.